Marshall. What's happening? Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a question for Steve from last week. I was hanging on waiting for Steve last week, but this is my question concerning climate change. Al Gore made his movie in 2006, and he stated in his movie that we're going to have to be dealing with Cat 3 hurricanes or higher, Cat 5 hurricanes often, something to that effect. And there hasn't been a hit of Cat 3 or over in the mainland United States for over 4,000 days. So, Steve, what is your explanation for that? And I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, sir. Marshall on the North Shore.
Okay, well, first, let me preface it by saying that I certainly do not call climate change or global warming or man-made global. Likewise, I can say that I don't have the scientific background to be able to say that it's a certainty either. So, my position is that I'm going to give some deference to the worst case scenario, and I'm not going to take either extreme. Now, to answer your question, I think that it's pretty clear that for the most part, most of the storms that what Gert, for example, the one that's out there now, have been going up the Atlantic coast and into taking a right turn into the Atlantic. So, we had no idea what would happen if those would be in the Gulf. Again, I do global warming, man-made global warming. I don't have that. I suspect nobody calling in has that. I suspect you don't have that, Jeff, in terms of knowledge one way or the other.
And I'm not connecting them. I'm not saying that this is due to global warming, nor am I saying that a flood on August the 5th is due to global warming either. So I just think it's problematic when you make those sort of connections. I agree. I mean, I think it's been going on since the beginning of time. So to be able to say, oh, well, this is due to global warming or climate change is, I think, very arrogant.
Well, okay, but is it arrogant also to say it's a hoax? I mean, which is what you said and what you have said.
Yeah, well, connecting the dots, I think is ill considered, and I think the whole. Because I saw some data the other day showing that we're cooler now than when Al Gore started his whole documentary push 15 years ago. I mean, so how does that correspond with the whole global warming mantra if things are cooler now? Hey, we're up against the clock. If you can hang with another segment, Steve, we'd love to continue. All right, we're continuing with our special guest as we cruise into another open line segment. Publisher Bayoubuzz.com. Steve Sabludowsky is with us here on the Ringside Hotline. And Steve, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Before we ended, I think you mentioned that there was some kind of statistic about that the Earth has actually cooled over the last few years.
Yes.
Okay. Would you repeat that?
Yeah, and I don't have it in front of me, but I'll look it up. Some sort of statistic that temperatures are now cooler than they were when Al Gore started his whole documentary push.
Right. I read something about that. At least I saw that, I should say. Maybe it was on Twitter, maybe it was Google, etc. So I didn't really look at it. However, I did look at NBC, I think it was this weekend, and he made a statement about 16 out of the last 17 years that the Earth actually has warmed, and I just did some research. And again, I'm not saying this is true, okay, but I am saying that I'm looking at, the government site, NASA, and basically it's saying that it's basically saying what Gore said, and it has a graph, and it shows that ever since 1966, where I think the combined Earth water temperature was minus 0.05 centigrade, and in 2016, it was a pretty substantial differential. Again, I'm not putting my name behind it. I'm just saying that I'd like to compare that to the information that you provided.
Well, and that really is sort of the interesting thing. I've got people that come on this program regularly who dispute the whole climate change mantra, and they cite statistics, and then you cite statistics that you've looked into, and others will cite statistics. And I think you can do a lot with how you monitor these things and how you gauge them, and they could be manipulated for certain reasons. So
on both sides, right?
I question the whole thing. I really did.
Okay, but they can be manipulated on both sides. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so how can you say it's a hoax?
Having climate change since the beginning of the climate. And I've lived through worse floods than we had on August the 5th. I've lived through horrible hurricanes since I was 2 years old, and Betsy came. And I never remember anyone back then saying it was climate change or Camille. Boy, we had 2 massive hurricanes in the span of 4 years. No one said then it was climate change. I remember back then, Steve, reading Time and Newsweek, and what they were saying. They're saying we're on the verge of an ice age. That's what they were saying. And I'm sure you know that. They were saying that the real problem was global cooling. So eventually it changed into global warming, and now it's climate change. And my personal belief is it's all a money grab, and I do not subscribe to it. But
not subscribing, but not subscribing is different than calling it a hoax. Or the information that say is on this NASA site, because I don't know, I don't have the knowledge, the background experience. Okay, but I'm certainly not going to call it a hoax, and I'm not going to call it a hoax that it's cooling, and I'm not going to call it. I just don't know. So I'm not going to take that kind of position on something that I don't have.
Shouldn't be extracted from people to combat something that may not be true, right?
I think that there are scientists, and I think that the vast majority of the scientists believe that it is true. In terms of money being extracted, I don't know where the money is going, but I think there's a legitimate reason to say, well, I don't believe it, and I think there's legitimate reason to say, well, money is being extracted, for something.
Detail about that study that I was talking about earlier. I found it, and it was done by Joe Bastardi, who is a respected meteorologist. He works with AccuWeather. I have their app, by the way. It does great work.
Sure.
So he points out that a new study shows that global temperatures are cooler today than they were when climate change activist Al Gore won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007.
I'd like to see.
Bastardi penned an op-ed on this, and he said Gore made all kinds of incorrect climate predictions back when he was promoting An Inconvenient Truth in 2006. And he said, all he can point to is that global temperatures today are cooler than they were when Gore won the Nobel Peace Prize for his global warming work.
So maybe he needs to look at the NASA government site, okay, this information, I think, just measuring temperatures since 1880. So maybe... So this
gentleman was looking at the period of 2005 to today, a 12-year period.
Sure, and this is measuring that too, and basically from 2005.
You'll have to send me that information. I'm just looking at his work.
Sure.
And he is pointing out that, and I'm looking at a graph that he has put together, which shows temperatures then versus temperatures now, and it looks like there is a slight decrease.
Well, somebody needs to, show him this. Yeah. And ask him, and maybe somebody needs to show his graph to NASA and ask them. I mean, because, we're in the middle of this. I'm certainly not going to call either one a hoax. I don't know.
Bob, good morning.
I just had to chime in this morning, okay? Let's have a little science lesson here this morning. Okay, Mr. Gore never factors in sunspots. Okay, you have the sunspots running cycles. You with me?
Uh-huh.
We were taught that in school years ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. In other words, when it starts off, the cycle, you have a low percentage of sunspots, okay, where it's sort of like not real active. Now, when you get 50% into the cycle, which I think is 10 years, every 10 years, okay, so you have a downside and an upside flares coming off the sun. It would be like a flamethrower, ejecting. We all know it's nuclear, anyways. You know, all of these rays coming off the surface of the sun. Okay, and so what I'm saying is that that's where most of the global warming's coming from.
The sun.
It's not man-made. In other words, it's out in the heavens. Okay? This has been going on since the beginning of time when the earth was born. You follow me?
Yes, sir. And you know what's interesting is that a similar argument was made by a guest that we had on this program a few months back. He cited volcanoes. He believed that it was volcanic as a climatologist and someone who does these kinds of studies. And we've had on many times on the program Dr. Bonner Cohen, who is a climate change skeptic, an Al Gore critic, and he's with the National Center for Public Policy Research, and he's very well known and renowned for his research. So I know that we could certainly find plenty on the other side who claim that, you know, it is man-made. But Paul, appreciate it, sir. We got a new Lou in St. Bernard who's with us. How you doing, Lou? Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
You know, a couple little comments, and then I'd like to say one little political thing at the end about the race thing going on in Charlotte. But you know, the global warming, you know, they changed the name to climate change because the global warming wasn't fitting the. But you know, Jeff, it's a narrative, a global narrative that tends to always punish things like the United States some kind of way. Whether it's the carbon tax, footprint tax, or it's the mantra, our coal, or do whatever it is. It's always hurt the people of the United States, this global agenda. And I think that's what it is, an agenda. And if you could trust the people or the news or these people who do this research, you know, it would be open for discussion. You just can't believe nothing they say, Jeff. One other comment about the Charlotte, and I know it's a little off topic, but you know, Jeff, this stirring, you know, when the right, and I'm not taking up for the supremacists. I don't want nobody even think like that. But you know, they have the right. All this people. Now, what happens is the left is always the one in the last few years who are always instigating violence. And I'll be doggone how they don't just switch around to the right on the right side all the time. Like last night, the left protested against pull down the statue. That's not peacefully protest. That's anarchy. And you know, Jeff, with this agenda, I don't know how we ever going to get to the bottom of it to try to solve it, but something really needs to get done. Because these two groups was led almost to meet, to march into a meeting point to have this conversation.
Well, that's why a lot of people are critical of police, because they sort of brought the two sides together almost, or at least according to some of the critics. That's moving from St. Bernard. Steve, your thoughts?
Well, about, you know, what NASA is saying, and they're saying that their information is consistent with NOAA. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think two calls in a row are saying that they're sticking by what information you're providing, and I'll put that. You know, you send that to me, I'll put that up too, so people can at least look at it and try to make their own decision. In terms of the earth, the volcano that you mentioned, how many volcanoes have we had versus, I have no idea whether volcanoes are spewing more dust or whatever to cause any warming versus the carbon dioxide that we're sending up there by every vehicle, every factory. I don't know. I don't know. I think there was one in Washington. That Dobby General wanted to, stop having volcano protection devices. But I don't know how you can say that.
Well, this is a scientist who's done research, and the reason he's saying it is that he's backing it up. And he says that one volcano can spew out more material into the atmosphere that will change the temperature than the collective activity of billions of humans. He said one volcano. And he says we're totally dependent on volcanic activity. Others say it's sun-related, as one of the callers pointed out, and are saying that the cause is not, quote, humans, not man-made global warming. So I'm going to share with you what some of the listeners are saying a scam. Doug writes in and says this, could just one cooling reality deny or tell us what the ideal Earth temperature is and who set that? The Earth must slowly freeze because Earth is heated by the sun, which shrinks. Matter becomes energy and gives us life-giving light. The fusion process has settled science. The apostles of man-made global warming shredded inconvenient data, and Democrat Gore refused questions about his many man-made global warming global rants. This tells us all, Jeff, we need to know about this, quote, science. It's all a huge hoax. The thing about Gore is that he really went out there with some pretty startling predictions. And you would agree that some of these have turned out to be off base.
I've never looked at, I never saw in my watching the one segment, on TV the other day. So, again, I had no idea. I'm just looking at what NASA and NOAA are saying. There is, according to them, there is global warming. Whether or not it is based upon humans, I don't know. Comparing that to volcanoes or the sun or whatever, I don't know. But we can try out all these theories, all of us on both sides. But I don't think that any of us can say that we have any certainty at all. And that deals, that's for those people on either side. I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what Al Gore said in 2006. Unless drastic measures to reduce greenhouse gases are taken within the next 10 years, the world will reach a point of no return. So, when you make statements like that, and it doesn't turn out to be true, then you have to just question, everything he's done, don't you?
Well, okay. So let me dissect what you read, and that is that if you don't take action, well, apparently Obama administration and I think Bush before, over to say the last I want to say 10 years. Basically did take, some action, as well as the rest of the world did take some action. Secondly, there is evidence, at least according to NASA, that there's global warming. Now, again, I don't know the relationship. I don't know what the influences are.
He believes that the action that was taken was nothing. He said the climate policy promises will do little to stabilize the climate. He was talking about before was absolutely of no value. So he made also statements that he's worried about Arctic sea ice. He's worried about polar bears. He said we've got a crisis with polar bears and ice. He said polar bears have been drowning, and now I'm looking at one report that says we have more polar bears now than we've ever had. I don't know. That's just a disagreement there.
Okay, so
the number of polar bears.
Oh, okay. Well, when you get information that absolutely is certain that there is no global warming, okay, and that NASA is contributing to this, and often though contributing to this false narrative, intentionally contributing, because
I'm glad we're out of the Paris Climate Accord. I really am.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the president to say whether or not he believes it's a hoax or not, which he hasn't done. Although he did say before it was a hoax. So it'd be nice for him to let us know if he thinks it's a hoax.
504-556-9696. Steve Sabludowsky with us, Chef Crouere here. 2 more minutes. You'll try to squeeze in a call or two, Steve. Our friend Alan is with us from Algiers. What's happening, Alan? Come on.
Good morning, Jeff. Morning, Steve. I want to say something about this global warming and this climate change. But first, I just want to make a quick comment to you, Jeff. Jeff, you are going to take off the rose-colored glasses. They are coming off, Jeff. They're coming off. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. And for every good story I hear about New Orleans, I hear 99 bad stories, Jeff. Do the math. The rose-colored glasses are coming off. Now, let's go to global warming.
Okay.
Just remember I said about those glasses, Jeff. The day comes, I'm going to jump up and down stairs. At any.
I'm an eternal optimist, Alan, but I hear you. We got problems.
Okay.
Yes.
For the people that you know how you can tell somebody that believes in global warming and climate change? They led a very sheltered life, Jeff. And Mommy won't let them go to that big hole in the ground out there in Arizona and climb down 9 miles to the bottom and along the river 5 miles and back up 7 miles because she's afraid to know the name of Mount St. Helens or Kilauea. So, do a little, do just like Jeff said. Check out your volcanoes and, climb to the bottom of that big hole once in a while, Steve, and you'll change your mind. You'll see how minuscule your life is.
9 miles? Which big hole are you talking about?
Anybody could
9
climb to the
miles.
bottom of that hole in Arizona and see if they don't change your mind about how minuscule your life is and how unimportant you are, and that you're just a grain of sand, and things don't change on the earth overnight. The earth is old, billions of years old, and man doesn't change. Mother Nature rules this, not man.
Alan in Algiers. Mother Nature rules, not man. So, Steve, I'll give you a final word.
Somehow, in Arizona now, let's see, you have the Grand Canyon there, you have another canyon there that I think was from the moon hit. Certainly not 9 miles. I mean, far from. So, he's criticizing me for being uncertain. Okay, and yet he's using 9 miles as a fact. Look, I am uncertain. Okay, and I'm admitting I'm uncertain. But now Alan wants to say that that I'm supposed to believe the same thing as him, and that I'm a grain of sand. So, Jeff, where do you get some of these people?
Hey, Steve, we have a lot of different folks with a lot of different viewpoints, and some are. Hey, thank you, my friend. BayouBuzz.com. Check it out. That's Steve Sabludowsky with us. Jeff Crouere here. Let's